my friends. It's bullshit, man.
Well, that's the thing, is that I believe that if we all work together, we can do something about it. Like you were saying about getting chewed up and spit out of the system, and so is she, and so have I, and that's the thing, is that it's stuff that, like, that's why I want to record it, that's why I want people to know, that's why I want people to speak out, so they understand I'm not the only one.
You get up to your little patch of woods in Washington, you build your cabin. What are you gonna do from there?
Man, if I gotta go up to Washington State and build myself a place where people leave me alone, I'm gonna stay there. I'm not gonna fuck with people. People are mean to people like me. I have sensory overload issues.
Would that put you in the same category as what you're accusing everyone else of being? Cowards?
No. Because I'm trying so hard to show the truth, but without others coming forward, I mean, really, going off into the woods is it. But I want to be left alone if I go off in the woods.
I think that's the truly brave thing, honestly.
Going off into the woods?
Yeah, but not without some conditions. Like, with the intention of creating a safe space for other people like you.
Well, see, I've been doing that. I had a castle idea. That marching fort thing is the Romans had marching forts, and they would build them every morning and take them or build them every night and take them down every morning. And that's not necessary. Once you've built something like that, you don't need to take it down. You could put foliage on the outside of it and grow food. And people who deal with sensory overload issues could be away from that. But not just autistic people. There's a lot of people with PTSD, and
there's just lots of people that don't fit into fucking capitalist society, how it fucking demands so much of you. I think most people don't fit into that, but a lot of people just have themselves so sedated by whatever they're addicted to. Movies or drugs or
food,
sex.
Yep. Heroin, meth, caffeine, tobacco, porno.
All I'm saying is like a really brave thing to do. And to kill two birds with one stone is the more effective form of resistance than trying to prove that all this shit is fucked.
Because everybody knows it's fucked?
Everyone does. I'm saying the truly brave thing to do, and the truly effective form of resistance to it, to repression like this, is to exist outside of it. And when they come for you, because they will, because they don't want anyone finding out that you can live outside of it. If people find out that it's possible to exist outside of it, it all fucking collapses. So they'll come after you. When they come after you, standing at the top of your fucking hill with a 60 round AR.
Well, I won't have a 60 round AR. I don't believe you saw my gun.
You're not a violent person, I know.
What's my gun made out of?
Words.
No, the squirt gun.
Jalapeno juice.
Jalapeno juice, that's right.
Violence aside, if you don't believe in violence, that's okay. You don't have to engage in violence. What I'm saying is, the truly brave thing to do is to exist outside of this bullshit. Invite other people to exist outside of this bullshit. Maybe people that need it, provide a safe place for people that need it.
And see, that's what I was trying to do. I had that almost set up to be able to do that before Natalie died. I mean, I was working on that. I was trying to start a GoFundMe specifically for that, because I was living with people who were exploiting my disabilities instead of understanding them, and they knew exactly how to exploit them because they have a son who's autistic. They send him into autistic overload all the time, and I'm like, he's overloaded because he has special interests too. He has things that he enjoys too, and you're not allowing him to enjoy those things. You're chastising him and telling him that you'll make a compromise, and then you don't keep your end of the compromise, even though he seriously just kept his.
Right.
And, some parents, like my friend Laura, she she understands the sensory overload thing, and she knows her son well enough to know what does that. With me, my family knows what does that as well. They know me well enough to press those buttons intentionally because they know how I'll react. Like, guys, just stop fucking with me. But with growing up in the system, like, that's. You get what I'm saying, don't you? I mean, your experiences are important, and her experiences are important, and I really do want to get your stories down, and even without your names, just the fact that it's your story is important. The fact that you're one more human being who's gone through this stuff is important, and the things that you went through, those words are important. Like I was trying to tell those people, it's that you guys, those people at Peak Wellness, they're not getting it. And with what they wanted to do, I figured I'd let them do what it is that they wanted to do so they could screw it up and realize that the help that I was asking for to begin with was the help that I needed, but they were taking their dear sweet time.
I'll show you Lake Cushman soon. You'll like it. It's in the Olympic Peninsula.
I want to grow food, not gravestones,
Yeah, it's Forest Service land. Forest Service has designated that area as a timberland, so they won't start logging it for another. I think the time they set for when they start logging it is 60 years, but by then capitalism's gonna have collapsed anyways.
Yeah, it does. Ours has lasted longer than any other, but it looks like it's falling pretty quick too. But like me, a lot of people don't get the whole peaceful thing. They don't understand that I'm frustrated. I'm not wanting to hurt people. People are literally hurting me. I'm with sensory overload issues. I really should have had help a lot of years ago. I didn't mean to talk over you. That's rude.
That's okay. I didn't feel like you were talking over me.
All right.
Can I have a cigarette?
You may. Here you go. But there's a lot of people that I know. I left Chapel, Nebraska because everyone was on meth. Not literally everyone, but like all my friends my age got onto that meth shit.
Omaha's really methy.
Yep.
So is Lincoln.
They both are. You're correct. Everywhere is all methy right now.
Not the East Coast.
No.
No, meth hit.
You're right.
Meth hit the West Coast and the Midwest really hard, and the Southwest too. But the South and
on the East Coast, it's the heroin.
It's the heroin and the crack. In the South, it's crack, a lot of crack. On the East Coast, it's heroin and crack. The Northeast, it's more heroin, for sure. But meth hit East Coast and or not East Coast, West Coast and Midwest really fucking hard. Like, yeah, like I don't like meth. It makes me fucking like insane and a bad person. And I've only ever tried it a few times, but I've tried it enough to know that it's just not like a good drug. I think it makes everybody into a insane bad person. And that's not to say that I don't know people who use meth that aren't good people. Like there are good people that use meth, but eventually the drug gets the better of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why
I think the same. I think
all my friends turned into those people who let the meth get the better of them. They were stealing from their own parents.
And I think that's true of any drug, personally. But like, there are varying degrees of, where and when the drug gets to you. Meth is the one that is the worst of them all.
I agree. It's cheap enough for poor people to get it. I know a lot of people who smoke meth because they have to work during the day and they are trying to keep their jobs and they're also trying to get unhomeless. So at night they can't go to sleep because they don't want a camping ticket. Next thing you know, they're spitting out teeth and picking off their face.
Right. Brutal cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, they're unemployed but still homeless and addicted to meth.
Yep. Or they get 2 or 3 camping tickets, and next thing you know, they're just completely fucked. And then they got trespassing on their record, so it keeps them from quite a bit, you know? But yeah, I'm gonna go inside, I guess, and post up that call from Peak Wellness.
Gotcha.
I mean, the things you had to say after that phone call, because you listened to the whole thing. I mean, it's not like you didn't hear it.
Right.
I just wish I'd turned on the recorder and taped that part. That was fucking epic. I mean, that was unscripted, and it's exactly the shit that I've been speaking out about.
I'm just an eloquent speaker, man. I mean, nothing special about it. I'm just putting to words what so many people already know. You know, most people know how fucked it all is. Most people don't look at a prison and see a just institution correcting our society, making anything better.
They see people being punished for being overwhelmed.
Most people,
Everybody gets overwhelmed.
most people look at a prison and just see it as a fucking cesspool of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
And they think that there's a better solution out there, or they know that there's a better solution out there, but they also know that if they fight for that the powers that be will come to find them and throw them in that cesspool. You know what I mean?
Well, they do the same thing to a lot of people that are on drugs. Like, they can't quit, so they just end up throwing their lives away. And it's not these people on drugs who are throwing their lives away necessarily. It's the fact that they just get overwhelmed. You know, it's like in Chapel, Nebraska, a lot of people get overwhelmed. They blame everything on blacks and Mexicans. And then they get drunk, and then they complain they don't have any money because of blacks and Mexicans. I'm like, excuse me, says I, but you get drunk every night. Might that have something to do with the fact that you don't have any money?
Yeah, they got them fooled. When working class white people realize that working class people of color aren't the enemy, or that homeless people, you're not working class, but just poor people of any color, they have, anybody who works a 40-hour work week, pays a mortgage to support their family, that person has more in common with the homeless guy on the street flying a sign than he ever will have in common with a billionaire. That's just facts.
But also the difference between being homeless and being in a house is like the difference
Substantial.
between being in a house with a 40-hour job and being Donald Trump. I mean, there's that big of a gap, and people don't understand that. And then you add in sensory overload issues, and then you add in the stuff that you missed out on in life because you were in the system and you didn't get to learn. And then you add in the fact that just nobody fucking cares.
Right.
And you're screwed. You know, most people that I know that were runaways, like I ran away. I ran away from an institution and I was picked up 2 blocks away.
I kept getting caught. Got caught. I got caught downtown 2 days later. Downtown, this was a town of 2,000, so like downtown was like, there's no way I wouldn't have been seen. Everybody knows each other.
Yeah, it's Chapel, Nebraska. There's less than 600 people there now.
I got caught downtown. I got caught the next time I got caught a county over, in Redmond. The next time I got caught 14 miles up a logging road. I didn't get caught. I was 14 miles up a logging road and was just walking. Didn't really plan on stopping. I was just gonna walk this logging road till something came up, and I passed some Forest Service people, And I looked pretty fucking haggard. I was fucking 15 and like, yeah, scrawny as all hell. I had been eating, but because I didn't have that much food, I hadn't been eating a lot. I was dehydrated as fuck. Like I didn't have any like I had a rolled up sleeping bag. I didn't have any like gear. I was walking up this trail in fucking like sneakers and shit. 14 miles up, the Forest Service passed by me and asked me if I'm alright. I'm like, yeah, just exploring. I live about 2 miles that way. They're like, okay. And they go back into town and they fucking call the police and they describe me to the police and the police just fucking drive down this logging road and pick me up. That was a hard one to deal with. I'm like, damn, no matter how far away from civilization I go, they're gonna come get me. That was a hard one to accept.
Yeah. I don't know that I always tried to be glad that I was at my parents' house instead of institutions, because my parents' places, they were hell, they really were, but they weren't as bad as the institutions. You have no rights, you have no say so,
Right.
and it's because your parents aren't there. Your parents don't care, your family doesn't care, and it's the same as an adult. You know, you end up homeless. You get to hear people who had a good start and they have a family who helps them out and is still there with them and helps to give them, if not financial support, they're there for emotional support. And God, my dad just wants me to be somebody that I'm not. He expects me to be in excellent physical shape and excellent mental shape after everything that I've been through, and to automatically know how to do all of these things. And then he's telling me that there's a lot of things my dad said that he looked up that he obviously didn't. He was incorrect about. But he's done that my whole life. He says, I already checked on it, Sean, and I'm right. And I'm like, fuck. You know? This guy is so ignorant, but he's got his ignorance set in stone. So,
That's how my dad is.
yeah, it's difficult to talk to him. It's difficult to talk to him without getting yelled at, I should say.
Right.
He knows exactly how to press my buttons. He knows what sends me into sensory overload, and that's exactly what he does. I tried explaining what homelessness was like. I said, you know, I wish your house would burn down so that you would understand. And he used that to pretend like I was threatening to hurt him. Like, no, dude, I want you to understand it. Because what me and my older brother are going through, he could do something about. But then, you know, he's got his own ideas about how you fix it, and he's never been in that situation. So, is he going to make good decisions on it?
Nope.
Nope. Exactly. So, like, for me, most of the time I don't have anyone to talk to except on the phone. The fact that you're here in person helps.
Yeah.
But also, like, you know, you and me have hung out for one day. I already fucking snapped at you while I was driving. So, like, you get how overwhelmed I am from a first-hand perspective and a
If you think
second-hand
that was
perspective.
bad, you should really talk to me some more about where I've been and what I've been through. I don't feel any particular way about it. Trust me. I'm pretty good at dealing with, like, if somebody wants to use harsh words with me, I'm pretty good at listening, you know, like, if you want to tell me something and be honest, brutally honest, I'll listen.
Well, see, that's me. When somebody starts using the curse words, my ears open up more. I'm like, all right, I'm paying attention. It's obviously a major fucking issue. You're saying fucking.
Exactly.
Plus, I know you're traveling partner, so yeah, you know some
She's not my
stuff.
traveling partner. She's some fucking wingnut from Denver that wanted to go to Oregon. She begged me to come.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that she should be kept safe from this too.
She claims to have been traveling 12 years. I don't believe her, but she claims to have been traveling 12 years and that she got stuck in Denver for the last year. I don't believe that she's been traveling 12 years. I hardly believe that she's ever traveled, but it seems like she knows a little bit about what she's talking about. So if she wants to talk all this game, talk like she knows what she's doing, and she wants to flip shit whenever I tell her that what she's doing isn't working, then
Even like earlier with all the bringing attention and making noises and throwing a tantrum.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying is if she wants to flip shit whenever I slightly give her any advice or criticism, then she'll be fine. She wants to know the realities of the road.
But she also has sensory overload issues, and that's obvious.
I mean, I'll protect her from other people who are being shitty to her. Sure, I can do that. I don't let nobody get fucking victimized by the shitty isms.
But see, that's what you were saying about going off on the logging road. Like, yeah, I would love to go off into the middle of nowhere and build a place where people can come and be safe. But at the same time, if I go off into the middle of nowhere and I build it, I'm not going to want to go back into society to find people that it'll help.
I'll send people your way. I'll come. I will.
I'm down with that. I'm down with helping as many people as possible. But the other thing is, like, you know, when I designed it, I decided to make my own for me and my loved ones first, just to test it out and see how well it works, and invite specific people. That way, you know, people who can handle it, people who, like, a lot of the people that were trying to help me out, they suffer from sensory overload issues as well. So even though they're mad at me, they would benefit from that environment the same as me. Whereas we're all freaking out, and they freak out at me, and I'm freaking out at them, and none of us should be freaking out at each other. We should be doing stuff to help each other. But then when you help somebody and they're helping you, that's not helping, that's working together. But when you're supposed to be working together and you fulfill your end and they don't fulfill their end, then it makes it difficult, because you're jumping through a bunch of hoops for help you're not getting. That's the problem with all these healthcare places and rehab places, and you know, they're businesses. They get money. If they're not getting enough people that have insurance that'll pay, then they want the government money. They'll take whoever the taxpayers will pay for. Colorado changed the behavioral health system down there so that they only take inmates now. They only take people who are in the criminal justice system because they can't take anyone else. There are too many people in the criminal justice system who were punished until they went crazy. They didn't even have to be guilty. And yeah, she is pretty crazy. But I can also tell, like, she has her own way about things, because in her experience, it's what works.
Yeah, it works.
But also, she's a female, so some of the things that work for her, she doesn't understand, are negative towards people like me.
Hell, I was going to criticize her style of spanging because it kind of bothers me sometimes, but in an hour of her spanging, I saw her make fucking 2 pizza kickdowns, a bunch of food, and like $20. So, shit, if it works, it works.
Right.
I just have a different style.
But I have noticed that panhandling works a lot better for women in general.
I mean, that's true, but not always true. Like, a girlfriend of mine, never made any money for some reason, unless she was sitting down next to me. We could never figure out why. She tried all sorts of different things.
She did it for everybody anyway.
See, I've known a lot of people that happened to, and a few of them were women, but most of them are guys. I know a lady named Mandy. She went out on a corner and flew a sign for like 2 hours, came back with $200. And I'm like, you know, I know a guy who goes to that corner and he makes between $5 and $10 in an 8-hour period. And I'm like, the guy is seriously messed up. He's seriously disabled, honestly disabled. And he's just not getting disability. And, you know, this is what he lives on, is being out there, hardly able to walk, getting $10 a day if he's lucky. One day he come back, though, he's like, I made 50-something bucks. That was right around Christmas time. He was so excited he made over $50 in one day. Never, that never happened, and so on. A lot of people have helped me out with a little bit of money here and there over the course of the last 2.5 years. But I mean, in order for the help that I needed, it needed to all be clumped together in one lump right back at the beginning. And now, pretty much everything that people send me is just enough to feed me to the next week, or get me to the next place, or I don't know.
That's how I live. So just enough, for the next time.
Yeah. See, I used to live like that, but I was able to see my loved ones and the people I cared about. With her, if she really has family in Montana, I don't mind heading north and then west
I was gonna
instead of
bring up a
west and
concern.
then
I would be
north.
skeptical of that because she said she doesn't talk to her family, or that her family has like disowned, or like has refused to contact her, like respond to her calls for about a year and a half now.
I
If
can
she can
believe
get
that.
if she can get a hold of them, I'm down. Like if she can call her family member and we go to and like somebody on the other end picks up and says come to Montana, I'm down.
I know some natives in Hardin, Wyoming that might help us out. I did
Wyoming,
quite a bit, or Hardin, Montana, who
where's
might
that?
be able to help us out. It's
Is it Chippewa Creek?
not. It's like just a couple
Blackfoot.
miles north of the Crow Reservation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know where that is. I've been
Yeah.
through Crow, been through Blackfoot, I've been through Chippewa Creek. Chippewa Creek is nice. Got a nice little cafe that's right downtown.
I was noticing most of Montana is beautiful, but you get down to the reservation and it's ugly. And
Not Chippewa Creek.
it's not because of the natives, it's because there's no foliage there, there's no
No,
trees
they were
there.
given shit pieces of land.
Yeah. And they got a lot of people who disappear from there too. They find them all in bones after the first thaw, you know? Spring shows up and everybody who was sent out there for exposure.
White people from neighboring towns make a game out of hunting down native women at night and kidnapping them, torturing them, throwing their corpses away.
That might be it. I mean, it is a lot more women than men in that situation, but also
those same white people sell meth
yeah,
to the people on the res, get them all strung out.
and that's what they were talking about on the res too. See, that's why I'm saying that I wanna get you speaking. I wanna get you on camera. I mean, there's a lot of people that know this stuff is going on, and the world needs to know it. America is disgusting right now. We're about to celebrate the 4th of July, and everything that the 4th of July stood for has already gone out the window. In the Revolutionary War, people had a choice of sticking together or taking it up the backside. Today, people would rather take it up the backside than stick up for anybody else.
I'll take it up the backside any day. Fucking. Yeah. Alright. I think I'm gonna go to sleep.
Alright, I'm gonna go try to waste a little bit of change on something to drink. I don't know. I'm feeling dehydrated as all fuck. And not being able to find my Quest card like shit, that's my only way to eat. I literally can't take care of myself, and I feel bad because
Yeah, so tomorrow, call the Washington EBT office, and when they ask for an address to get they'll ask you, is this address still good? Tell them no. When they ask you for an address to send it to, I can give you a few addresses. You can either use my dad's address in Seattle, or you can use my friend's address in Olympia. You can use my mom's address in Seattle, and I have a lot of places I can get it sent to. Just let me know which one.
would they understand that I have sensory overload issues? Like if I came to get the mail and it was
Oh, well, okay, yeah. Then the best option would be send it to Track House in Olympia. Yeah, totally. No, Track House is a collective house in Oli. Most of the people who stay there are like neurodivergent in some way or another. And fucking
do you think they'd take me?
to stay there.
Yeah.
They're at capacity. There's four. It's a 4-bedroom house, and there's 11 people staying there. But what you can do is you can talk to them about a thing that I've done in the past. You can talk to them about parking your vehicle out front, and having access to the bathroom and the kitchen and stuff. They've done that for people in the past. I'll talk to them about it if you want.
I'd love that. People keep sending me the same numbers on rotation. Like, I don't know how many times I've called the Nebraska Attorney General's office and the Colorado Attorney General's office.
As far as the inside of the house goes, though, they're pretty much at capacity. Or they're past capacity. It's a fucking 4-bedroom house. They got...
See, if I had my disability back, then I'd be able to rent a place. But when I had my disability, like for most of last year, I had my disability, but it was all going to jumping through hoops to go to the courts. And I did that. I did all of the stuff that they wanted me to, and I literally could not get the police to take a report or get them to leave me alone. Or, you know, I mean, when they call you mentally ill, and this is the reason I have such a problem with the term mentally ill, when people call you mentally ill, then they can get away with doing whatever they want to you. When in reality, it's mentally disabled, and it's illegal as fuck that they do those things. I need somebody who's familiar with sensory overload, and the level of sensory overload that I've dealt with in the last 2.5 years. Like, I'm always afraid that people are gonna assume that I'm gonna hurt them. You know, I don't want them getting hurt. I don't ever want anybody getting hurt, but I do say those things to people now. I'm like, hey, people been doing this to me for several years now. I'm gonna give you some mean words so that you understand what it is that I'm going through, so that you feel on some level. But at the same time, that works better on people who don't have anyone like me than it does on people who do have someone. And there was a lot of people who wanted to help me, they just didn't understand. And there's a lot of people who wasted a lot of resources getting me the help that I needed. They literally spent the money to get me the help that I needed, but once I got to where that help was supposed to be, that's not how these people help. Like this guy Dan, he spent some money to get me up to Montana, and the people in Montana completely misread the situation. And like, I'm different. If you'd have met me 3.5 years ago before I hurt my back, like, oh my god, dude, I was such a fucking badass. I was. And I shouldn't toot my own horn, I know that, but like, yeah, I mean, I handed out blankets, walked drunk people to the warming center, and saved fucking lives. And sure, maybe the guy whose life that I saved was an alcoholic, or he's a long-term friggin' heroin addict, or, you know, whatever else he may be. I still saw him as a human being and gave him a fucking blanket. So I saved the scum of the earth just so they can get falsely arrested, or properly arrested in some cases, and get locked up and have more of their life wasted. More reason for them to get out and get all fucking junkified because they're bullied in there by the jails. So then they get out, their tolerance is lowered, and they fucking overdose. Am I wrong about that?
No, that's actually exactly how it goes. Sucks.
Yeah, that's the thing. I work with a lot of people who do drugs, and I don't do drugs. I smoke pot, and that's it. And even that, I don't bring it to Wyoming.
Drug, but it's not the same.
Do what?
Weed's a drug, but it's not the same thing as other drugs.
Right. Like, I use weed during situations because of social anxiety disorder. If I don't have a social issue, or I'm not around people who are just jackasses, I don't need it. I can go about my merry fucking day and not have an issue. But I like being sober more than I like being stoned. Matter of fact, I can honestly say I hate being stoned, but when I'm stressed out, it fucking helps. But like here in Wyoming, you know, it's across state borders. I'm not going to transport it across state borders. I'm not going to drive through somewhere where it's illegal with it, because then I'm having a panic attack because I'm paranoid about getting pulled over by the cops with weed. Like, no, you know, and I can't go to Colorado where the weed is legal. And really, I'd rather just hang out with my friends, talk shit, and build stuff. Try to make the world a better place. I mean, I invented so many things for making the world a better place, and I dug up old technologies, figured out how to, you know, refurbish them for modern use. Like, instead of trying to build a big, huge medieval castle with tall stone walls, I'm like, no, we're going to build some dirt ramparts at an angle because the dirt's already there, and we'll grow our food right there on the ramparts. Set it at an angle on the outside, plant your blackberries on the outside of it. On the inside, you step it like Chinese rice paddies, except you make them long instead of, you know, ponds. And then since they're basically long terraces, you grow all sorts of different food in the different levels of that. And then, of course, if you really felt like it, end of the year, you cut down all the food that you're going to eat, you have your harvest, and then you can use that area for seeding. You know? Like, you've seen how wide a corn row is. It's only about that wide, about 18 inches or so. You passing out? Alright. I'll be back. I really don't want to see those people tomorrow. I also don't want to waste Anna's money because, like, she sent me $100, dude. I spent 50 of it on a phone card so I can still call people, and so I can use MapQuest because I'll get lost trying to get directions from you. That's nothing against you. It's that when I'm driving, it's easier for me because I have a visual memory to look at the map, memorize where I need to go according to the picture, and drive there, than it is to get directions from someone else. I've had people that, like, I could have just looked at their map when we first started the drive, but instead we're driving to wherever they're wanting to go, you know, while they're looking at it and trying to give me directions. And I'm like, oh man, we just missed another exit. We just missed another exit. All right, we need to turn around here. Nope, nope, the other way. Fuck. I'm trying, bud. All right, I'll be back.